a whole lot of shading into here to make it look a lot more three-dimensional. You'll notice that because of the way we've done this, if I hide the color layer, which is the Illustrator layer, then you can see now I've just got the shading right on top of it. The beauty of that is that now it's really easy to change colors, add textures, whatever, really quickly. If you want to change colors, you could obviously edit this smart object by double-clicking it and opening it in Illustrator. If you wanted to add a raster effect, like a texture, then that's really easy to do in Photoshop. So I could pop right over to Firefox. I found a burlap kind of texture here. We'll go back over to Photoshop and paste it. Alright, and now I'm going to scale this down by hitting Apple T or Control T on the PC. I'll just scale this to something that seems like a reasonable size for what we're working with. I need for this to cover each of these areas here. So actually, let me rescale it. I'll start with this one because it's the biggest area. Now, using the Move tool, I hit V on the keyboard. Now I'm holding the Alt key while I drag this down to duplicate it. And still holding the Alt key, I'm going to duplicate it over to here. It's not wide enough to go all the way to the back in this little gray area, so what I'm going to do is duplicate it again, hit Apple T to transform, and as I drag here, you'll see that up here this becomes negative number. The width becomes a negative percentage. So what you can do is set it to negative 100%, and that's the equivalent of mirroring the image. And then if you just line it up right here, pixel for pixel, they should match up perfectly and look nice and clean. Okay, and up here, so I can join all these layers by hitting Apple E or Control E on PC. Use my eraser tool to erase some of this burlap up here. And then I'm going to duplicate some of this down here. Up into this area. Let's just scale that up just a little so it fits. Okay, so now I have a bunch of burlap covering parts of my shoe, and I can use the line work and select areas on the shoe that I would like to be burlap, and then go back to my layer and hit this little mask button right down here, Add Layer Mask. And there we go, now my burlap is only in those areas. I missed an area right here, so if I go back to my line work, I can select that area, go back to this mask, click on the mask, and you can see if I click on the mask, it gets a little black outline around it. If I click on the pixel area, the actual layer, the bitmap area, it becomes outlined. So if I click on the mask, then I can select white and go Edit, Fill, and fill with foreground color. Or the way that I usually do it is hold the Alt key and hit the backspace, or delete, yeah, backspace should be it. Alt, backspace. Oh, foreground color. Alt, backspace. Dadgummit, wrong layer selected. Select this layer, white, Alt, backspace. There we go. Alt, backspace is just the same thing as Edit, Fill. Okay, now I have this burlap. Now that looks pretty funky. I'm not sure about that color, so I'll hit Apple U, Control U on the PC, and that'll bring up hue saturation. I will change my hue till it's kind of bluish color, and then drop the saturation way down. So we have a burlap that starts to make some sense. And then hit Apple L on the keyboard, Control L on the PC. I can adjust my levels a little bit. To lighten it all up some. There we go, now I have some fabric on my shoe, and it's all shaded because the shading layer is still just sitting right on top of it. So that's basically the technique. I hope that is helpful to you, and then in the future I'm thinking very seriously about doing something like this in Modo. Let me know if that would interest you. Thanks.